Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today we have Kokon from the legendary band Virus. How you doing today?
Very well. Would you believe it's actually hot in Scotland?
Is it?
Yes. I can't believe it. I can't believe the sun's shining down on us.
That is probably one of the first days you guys have ever seen sunshine.
Probably, yeah.
It is. What's the temperature there? Because it's like.
Oh well, it's not. It's not a huge temperature. It's like it's in the 20s. So
I'm just
that's
curious.
good for us.
Is it okay?
That's good for us.
Stateside with us right now, we're in the middle of a heat wave, so everyone's feeling it. And props on your shirts, by the way. Nice shirt you got there. You're a creator.
Probably the best album.
Probably.
It's a bit of publicity, mindless publicity for creator Coma of Souls.
It's such a good album. I mean,
it is a good album.
There's such a big underrated, you always say underrated a lot, but I mean, once again, it's one of those.
Yeah, but again, like if I can be completely honest, the creator of today are not the creator that they used to be. Like my favorite album is Extreme Aggression, because it's probably because I toured with them on that album, and I got to know the guys back then. But they were just like fledgling artists back then, and so were we when we were caught right in the headlights, and we went on tour with Celtic Frost and Creator. So that was quite a decent tour for us.
Which album was that for Celtic Frost?
What was it?
It was before the Glam album, right?
Even more. It was oh God, what's it? Cold Lake. Is it Cold Lake?
Yeah, I think so. It was around that time. There's like Cold Lake, and then there's like Vanity. I don't remember. I can't think.
Yeah, it was Cold Lake. It was Cold Lake. It wasn't anything special. I mean, Creator blew them away every gig.
Right.
I won't say that we did, because like that, we were like the first on the bill, but first on, you still get recognised.
That's a good lineup, though, to be on. Historically, it is good.
And then we did a couple of we did a tour with the Cro-Mags, which was good. We got to meet the guys in the Cro-Mags, and I'm still friends with a couple of Dougie Holland. I still speak to Paris Mayhew. There's two Cro-Mags going on. There's Harley Flanagan's Cro-Mags, and there's John Joseph's Cro-Mags. And like one of them is on one side of the States, and another one is on the other side of the States, and never the twain should meet. But if they do, there will be a big, massive fight, because they absolutely hate each other. I hate the both of them, so it's a respect.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's at this point, the music industry is so hard for musicians. It's the fact that musicians at some point still have a point where you're still infighting, and I'm not judging them or anybody. There's enough stuff going on inside to put your energy. Like it's almost like it weakens the bands. Yeah, from the outside to attack them, because it's easy to conquer and divide. It's like when a child favors a parent and gets the other parent. You can kind of tear it down from the inside. I mean, the lead singer, you're the singer of the band. The guitar player, you're the. You know what I mean? It's your band. You should have the legal rights. It's your name. Everyone's sorting out the money.
Like that, but I don't see it like that. I'm kind of like the same as Tony Dolan from Venom Inc., except on a smaller scale, because like I do all the merch and I do all everything. Same with them. I think it's Craig and Lum from Heathen. Craig does all the merch himself.
I love that. It's such a
he's very hands-on. I'm hands-on as well. I do all the merch. I've done all the backdrops. I've organised all the gigs, because because basically Combat are no more because of the Ellison conspiracy.
I don't think first off, if there's video, there's no conspiracy. But
okay. No, it's true.
I know it's true. As far as that goes, so like, how did when I was a younger man, I actually had an internship briefly for In Effect, Combat, and in the early '90s was Scatterbrain and Vi and all those stuff was coming out, and that was a fun label. I mean, Combat at that time was beautiful, because it really
I mean,
trying to find its legs, because it was encapsulating other sub labels, and it was trying to like make things bigger, but then just it was really it's an
It
interesting
was trying.
time.
It was trying to boost the thrash bands on the Bay Area that weren't noticed, because there was a lot, and the New York scene, I suppose, as well, and
Mm-hmm.
everything in between. Because they had bands on there. It went down as far as Florida with Death on the label, Obituary. You know, these bands like just became huge. I think because of Combat, and
Oh
maybe
yeah.
we got a little bit of status because we were on Combat as well, and we were like the only British band at the time. I think they might have got Napalm Death, although I think they might have been still on E-Rake.
But they carried them now. They were still subsidiaries. I remember, like, as an intern, like, I didn't get paid. I got paid like in CD, which is the best in CDs and shows. I remember, I saw like it was like Obituary, Sadus, and
Oh yeah,
Sepultura. Oh, these are like triple bills. And these like all these shows were like,
oh yeah,
are you kidding me? Like, and it was just these.
Atheist.
It was just like these bands were coming out at the time, and these powerful, strong sets. Everybody, and everybody was just
Crazy
new.
time.
Yeah.
Crazy time, and the musicianship in those
Tight.
bands was absolutely incredible. Not saying that it's bad nowadays, but it was just the passion for actually just going out there and touring and meeting the fans and not having any fucking egos or
I think there's a
anything like
struggle,
that.
like for people trying to be. I'm sorry, trying to be original too, because a lot of these people were like still fans of
That was
Van
hard.
Halen, like because you can love a million types of music like I do, but they'd be like, you know what? I'd be like, I don't know who they were, like I guess Sepultura, Obituary, or whoever was, you know what I mean, or Death, and then like Chuck from Death would be like, oh, and then like loving the Van Halen thing, but not being Van Halen, but being inspired by the originality, and then being original in your own genre of music. Like it carries over in a different way. It's transient. It's not the same as ripping people off or making an Instagram video or being the next star.
But at the
You know what I
time,
mean?
who else was there? I mean, there wasn't much else, really. I mean, the bands that were getting known, like Exodus, Metallica, Slayer, Venom, Suicidal Tendencies, like Megadeth, all the big names of the day. Um, I was more interested than what was underneath the surface. I was listening to stuff like DRI. I was listening to like JFA. I was listening to the Circle Jerks and stuff like that. I was really into the hardcore scene in America because I thought that was the pivotal thing for me as going into the thrash. It helped me go into the thrash was listening to bands like DRI, like Fear, and bands like that. That pushed me into the genre. It wasn't strictly, heavy metal that pushed me into it because I wasn't really that much into heavy metal. Yes, I had a grounding in heavy metal, but with Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and that, and I still liked all that shit and Motorhead, and I wouldn't be playing this shit if I didn't. But there was the other side of it because, like, across the pond, I mean, these guys were like innovating something unbelievable, and I was never. And people will probably shoot me down in flames for this, but I've never been a Metallica fan. I've never really been a huge Metallica fan. After Ride the Lightning, I just thought it was overproduced bollocks, and I couldn't listen to it. I would rather listen to something like Laz Rocket, or I would listen to something like Death Angel that really weren't up in the mix yet, but you got the import of the ultra violence and thought, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And Violence and Forbidden and all those bands, and we were just hearing them for the first time, and like because like everybody thought that Slayer were the gods, and like there was nothing else better than Slayer out there. Wrong. There is so much.
I think it was hard for me because I was actually part of the label. So to me, I was listening to like I was Forbidden Step, like Step by Step was like my player forever, or you're right. These bands you mentioned like Violence, like all these bands are Act 3 from Death Angel. Actually, Death Angel just spoke to them. They have their new stuff is still very relevant. They're still just killing it.
Yeah, they are. They are.
It's really great. But all those bands to me were so much in my front radar as it was. So to me, it felt like it was so current.
Yeah, we in the UK kind of suffered because obviously because there wasn't a bigger area as the States.
You started like the time span is always very interesting for me, and how a band. I love the fact that you're still a band now, and like you're still true to who you were and to your music, and how you deal it back. I also think it's a kind of a European thing too, maybe doing all your own background stuff, like building your props, doing this. It's a very hands-on thing where a lot of artists in America usually don't just the music end and the production. And it's not a dig towards that either. It's almost just like it's culturally like it's more of a pick up my tools also and build everything. You know what I mean? Like
I think it is, but I also think it's we don't have the possibility to be closer to record companies that they are in the US. They're like next door. You could just go to a record company and walk in and say, "Here's a demo, man. Check it out. See what you think."
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do that in the UK because the UK is pretty close-minded about things, about signing you up on record deals and stuff like that. So somebody told me, why don't you just like start your own record label then and fuck the rest of them? And, you know, it's quite a good idea because, but I think record companies are kind of a thing of the past these days because they're becoming more and more irrelevant as we go on.
Especially in different genres, except for the pop world. I mean, I agree with you. I think, you know, and what's great is most artists can start their own record label and then they can distribute it and make better deals for themselves. And most artists are making more money now doing their own,
when you got kids
music.
16, when you got kids of 16, 17 and making and producing and mixing and mastering records in their own bedroom and making a fortune out of it, you know, you don't need a record company for that. I mean, like we've got our guitarist does all the producing. He plays drums like a pro. He plays guitar like a pro. I mean, he is a pro. You know, a prostitute. I mean, no. Right, I think he's been a bit of that as well, but never mind. It's another story.
No judgment. So like when you guys obviously did the regular record label battle early on, in the late 80s, right? In the touring and stuff. And then obviously the world changed commercially for music to begin with. I mean, rock bands that were platinum went out the world. So clearly other working bands, it was probably actually would it be more of a struggle or the same because it really didn't matter because it was such a similar, it wasn't really the same audience any that was being steered away from you. Like the change.
Well, I think like there was, speaking from the UK, I would say that everything got drowned out by grunge, really, because everybody they were only, a lot of people were just only willing to go out, and see the big four, really, you know, when they came over, and but it seems to be the same thing with every time there's an American band that comes over to the UK, they tend to be treated more like kings, even though they're hardly got any status in America at all. They could have a massive status in the UK, because any band coming from the States will be treated better than any band in the UK who plays that is not on the high enders list, if you know what I mean. No, like Judas Priest in the UK get treated like kings. You know, there's other bands here, other less well-known bands that are still doing the rounds, and they don't get a mention. They really don't, and I think it's a shame because back in the 80s, you know, talking about the thrash scene, it was very limited to what we could do because we had very limited possibilities to get our music out there, and the only way we could do that was by joining a record label in Europe or a record label in America. It was the only way you were going to get the music out there. If we hadn't joined Combat, we would never been heard of today, and that's the saddest thing about it, because the UK just wasn't strong enough. There wasn't a strong enough record label there. There was E-Rake, but they were a fledgling record company. Music for Nations, they were still fledgling as well. So they were finding their feet at that time, and they were holding on to what they could, you know, because it was either sink or swim back in those days, really. And you know, if the crowd didn't like you, and they didn't like us, and I'll be honest, the crowd didn't like us. We were too violent. We were misrepresented, and I think also fighting with your fans doesn't do you much favors.
No.
But we we were classed as the bad boys of thrash metal because most of our gigs ended up in fights, either with the band or with the fans, and I was quite responsible for quite a lot of that because I was an angry Scots young man, and people, if they, I was so loyal to the band that anybody said anything about the band, the fists came out, and you know, it was detrimental to what was going on there because we were getting a name for ourselves. We were getting better. We were getting good. It probably destroyed our career in a way. The music didn't help because I was working with amateurs, and I won't say any more than that. We'll leave that for another day. But I mean, I wrote 2 decent albums. I think I wrote 2 decent albums because the first album I thought was absolute crap. It was. I wouldn't even wipe my arse with the cover. It was that awful. But I needed to be in a band, and I needed to show what I could do. I needed to showcase things, and the only way I needed to do that was to join a band that was in the UK for a start. I could have gone to America. But I chose to stay at home because I believed in what we were doing here was good enough.
I don't think there was a way. I think you did what you did. It was the right way. I mean, the path you created. It was like any other band. If it was a certain produced album, or,
I think
or
we
a certain
helped.
thing.
I think we helped to make that path.
Yeah.
We were part of the construction. I don't think we were a huge part of it, but we were certainly different because we had an image that kind of was different from Sabat because they were all the flowery boys with the medieval goblins and little fairies talking about talking about Tolkien and all that sort of stuff. Whereas we were talking about ripping your fucking face off and a zombie biting off your fucking head. So I mean, it was in total contrast. The music was aggressive. We were aggressive. It didn't do us any favors, but I think now that it's come round that if we get the promotion that we didn't get from Combat because they neglected us again. Well, I wouldn't say the first time Combat neglected us because we had a lot of good people working for us.
Right.
They were pushing us with Combat, who spoke to Combat all the time. Whereas this time there just seemed to be a lack of communication.
How long ago did you re-sign up with Combat recently?
2 years ago.
And then
it was fronted by Dave Ellison, who also had EMP Music, and the guy he had in charge of Combat was Tom Hazart, who was also the front man for Ellison. And
that's right. Didn't he just retire too?
Yeah, he's just given it all up, and we all know why.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shit show. It's a real shit show. But it's done. I'm not going to say anything about it because it's none of my business. But what concerned me was that I wanted out before that. Before that because they went. Because it's his label. If he's obviously got something. He's got EMP to fall back on. Because that is his baby, really. Is his main project is EMP, which is Elvis music product. But I think Combat was just him getting back at the old Combat for sacking Megadeth in the first place, or just. I
thought, good. At least a metal guy is going to have his hands in an old metal label and maybe help out some bands.
I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to be anything in the music business again because of what happened. But I think he could have at least sold Combat to somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing and has a bit of a passion for the music and is somebody who would actually push Combat rather than have a website that hasn't even been touched in 2 years. So
I hate that.
it's disgraceful. It really is disgraceful. And when we were bringing out our new album, Evolution Apocalypse, the Ellefson was bringing out his album. So, you know, the pros and cons of that weighed more in favor of Dave Ellefson's solo project, and we were to take a backseat. Also, although I think personally our album's fucking 10 times better, 100 times better than Ellefson's solo project, because it's old school thrash, and that's the way I like it. Mm-hmm. But that was that was my modus operandum. It was to get that out on Combat, so that. But they never even fucking distroed it. They didn't even distro it on anything. They did nothing. I've done everything myself. I've got the presses done. They're all done. I'm selling them online on Bandcamp. You know, because of COVID, I haven't been able to get out to sell them at gigs. This gig hopefully will sell a few. But you know, I've done all the merch myself. I've done all the promotion, most of the promotion myself. I think Combat did a little bit of promotion, but it never got seen. Again, just like kick to the curb, so to speak. And
what a horrible time for you to be involved with Combat between COVID and Ellefson. These are the worst 2 years I think.
Yeah,
you could have hoped for.
But we're still here, and he's not.
Are you still actually affiliated, or can you break free? Are you tied to him? Can you become your own?
Well, I've been told. I did ask Tom Hazard for the rights back to the album, because they were bringing the album out, and he quite rightly so. He said to me that I could have the rights back, so I now have the rights for the last album.
Excellent, congratulations.
Yeah, so yeah, thanks, because it was kind of like I think, because me and Tom are still, you know, we're still friendly. You know, I've got no, I've got nothing bad to say about Tom. You know, it's like it's not his fault. You know, he just got caught up in things. You know, and he kind of neglected us, and I think quite a lot of the others on the label, and they will probably agree with me that Combat just really didn't do anything. It was just basically the name, and because you were like the status, virus back on Combat. Whoa, that's good. That's interesting. Wonder what that's all about. Well, looks like they're going to tour the States. Looks like, oh, this is all going to happen. Wrong. It's never going to happen.
I wonder if it was just if it was just an Ellefson solo show behind the whole thing, that he really didn't have a choice. Tom was behind the scenes. He was just trying to manage everything. It was just, you know what I'm saying? I wonder how bad it was behind the scenes before this even happened.
Well, I don't know, but Tom's a clever guy. Tom knows his shit. He's been around a while. He knows his shit. He knows when it's time to go. He knows when it's time to break ties with people. When he knows this is going down the tubes. Yeah, he did the best thing he could have done. You know, broke ties with the man, and before it all got ugly. And he did do that before it got ugly, because,
well, ironically, they destroy Combat now. He didn't get his revenge on the Megadeth album because the label now.
Well, we still got fucking the Combat logo on our fucking album. that's the thing. There's nothing we can do about that. But as Combat, I believe now, is in the process of being defunct, then I don't know if we have any rights to put it out as Combat. But then again, who's going to stop us, because there is no Combat.
Right.
Yeah. And
well, I think moving forward, you just keep all your stuff and put it out and find ways to distribute it. I mean,
I'm going to do this shit as long as I can. You know, I'm going to, as long as I'm physically able to, and if I stay healthy, you know, I can keep doing this thrash shit. But you know, I might end up playing in some fucking Chet Atkins type band. I'm starting to look a bit like C6 Steve anyway, so I might get a job with him.
As long as you take care of yourself, that's the problem with the music as you get older. Certain stuff, it's really, really hard, you know?
Yeah, but you know, like I've got a very eclectic musical taste. I mean, I just, people see me like, because I'm in a thrash band, and I'm in an ancient thrash band, that thrash is all I listen to. No. I'll put on Django Reinhardt. I'll listen to Jerry Reed. I'll listen to all sorts of stuff, you know, like Elvis Presley. I listen to sometimes.
Yeah.
I listen to Rolling Stones, which I absolutely love. The Rolling Stones, Stevie Ray Vaughan. I like funk, chic. I love chic. I think it's fantastic. Level 42. I listen to that stuff. And I listen to old punk records, you know, back in the days, The Damned and all sorts of stuff like that. I'll even listen to classical music, Debussy, bit of Chopin. You know, so my taste is absolutely eclectic. It always has been, because I've been a musician for over 40 years. So, I mean, yeah, I'm going to.
It's very hard to find musicians actually, well, that I talk to that are very much into this one little thing, because just like you, I listen to everything, like literally. But I'm also very discerning. I don't like everything because it's music. You know what I mean? But I also want to put it down, because if you're a musician, you want to play it, do your thing, man. That's cool. Not my thing. No, I can't. I just like it. But at the same time, but I will listen to almost every type of music, almost every type, except for that commercial country music. Can't go there. I listen to Outlaw. I listen to Willie Nelson. Cannot listen to the shiny country music. That's the only thing where I kind of draw my line. I've got
a little soft spot for Brad Paisley. I'm sorry, because I think he's a fantastic guitar player.
Once again, Keith Urban's a fantastic guitar player too.
Keith Urban's an incredible player.
Once again, I
don't listen to him. Music. I hate his music.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is I don't listen to it because I don't want to use it. I get what you're saying, but the same point is, it's fantastic musicians. I'm just saying there's something about that mixture of those sounds sonically. I've got so much other stuff to listen to.
Wouldn't you believe that one of my favorite bands is Creedence?
Yeah,
it's Creedence. I love Creedence, man. I think
with that beard right now, you look like you could be the manager.
You get the beard. Look like I could be a roadie for John Fogerty.
Right? You know, talk about someone's got screwed by the industry. Is John Fogerty.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, he's still can't play his own music. He got sued by his own manager for sounding like himself.
But didn't he screw his band members up?
He may have done. I did a whole history of things, but like he literally sold his rights to the point where, like, when he did something else, he got sued for sounding like himself.
Oh,
that's the most insane thing.
That's you're a John Fogerty.
Can you believe that?
John Fogerty covers band.
Yeah, literally. Sued by your own company because of whatever went down. I mean, I've heard bands that have done stuff like they write their own songs and they'll be on YouTube or whatever because there's copyright to play their own song on YouTube.
I think it was CBS or something that was they was suing him or something because he was bringing out records that John Fogerty had already brought out.
Recorded.
And it was like, what are you talking about? I am John Fogerty. Fuck you then.
It's crazy that I know artists have their own personalities and their own battles, but when it really comes down to it, the fact that an artist can't even just sing their own song online. Like if you went online and somebody had a right to one of your early songs and you sang on YouTube or something, you could get a copyright infringement or get blocked off of Facebook for singing your own song because a record label owns your rights. And I know bands nowadays, just recently that's happened too. They're like, I wrote the song, but the record label owns it. It's their biggest single, and they can't even play it live on streaming. That's insane.
Well, they can if they've got copyright. If they've got copyright to it, then. But usually, the bigger people, it's usually the record company that has the copyright because
that's what it is. It's the record companies that have some kind of weird little hand or CD Baby always sneaks their fingers in there too sometimes. And
there's always a clause in the contract that says blah blah blah. If you record this or you play this live and you don't tell us about it, then you're going to have a lawsuit on your arse.
And I think it's these laws before social media came out too. So it's such a gray area for them to go after you on.
Yeah, and that's absolutely preposterous. Going after somebody who's it's his own music and he's playing his own music, and they're suing him for him playing his own music. That is absolutely preposterous. Just go to the Bandcamp if you like the album, have a listen. If you like old school thrash, you really will like Evolution Apocalypse because that's what it's all about. That's what it will always be about. And if we get a chance to tour the States, which we certainly hope we will, then we look forward to seeing you guys and come and say hello because we're all really decent guys and we have no fucking egos whatsoever. And if you like what we do, then just buy the merch, t-shirts, CDs, please. Patches.
Bandcamp, and can they reach you? You like Facebook or Instagram they want to talk to you at all? Is there any kind of other social media that you use?
We're on.
The fans want to.
It's a big shout out to like Instagram. We're on Instagram. Virus, blah blah blah. Instagram, virus, blah blah blah. Facebook. We've got our own website, which is getting kind of sorted out just now, which is www.virusthrash.com.
Okay.
That's getting a facelift at the moment.
Good. Well, all the links are going to go under our show, and you'll send me stuff. So people who are watching, when stuff comes, Coco, send me stuff, and I'll put up on the site and my media. So if there's anything new coming, also direct so they're aware of your new stuff coming out too, or just any dates or anything going on.
Just a big shout out to my mate Dougie Holland from Kraut in the Cro-Mags. Another one is Rocky George. Big shout out to Rocky George as well, and all my mates in the States and all the fans.
Very good.
There's an evolution coming, and it's apocalyptic.
I couldn't have said it better. The band kicks, guys. Yeah, I really can't say enough. I'm not even gonna put words into it. Just listen, just thrash it out, man. It's I guess old school is a good word. I mean, it's got that great. It's an original sound. It's heartfelt. It's original. It's just. It's true. It's true to what he was, to what they are, to what he is now. So it's been a pleasure, man. Thanks for being on the show.
You're very welcome, Sean.
Thank you.
I hope we can do this again.
We will.